Hey guys, and welcome back. So, this video that you're about to see was shot last week in Turkey when I was there doing my research. I had some issues with the video, but the audio was intact. So, I decided to publish the audio. So, you're going to be hearing the audio, and unfortunately, the video doesn't work. So, the pictures are not going to be there. You're not going to see my face, but the contents are still going to be there. So I hope that this will be a good option because I didn't want to trash the whole thing. I felt like some very important things came up. It was a very fascinating session. Um, yeah, so enjoy that. And for the offers of the week, check out the description box. And thank you for watching. Hi, everyone. So I am in Turkey, and we finally got an opportunity to do a video, which I'm happy about. It's probably going to be a little bit shorter this time, but at least we got an opportunity to do it. I can't wait to show you my results from Göbekli Tepe, and I've also been getting all these signs leading to the underground cities and people living underground. So I've done some research on that too, and I can't wait to show you guys. Kind of feel like that one just sort of presented itself to me. I wasn't really thinking about. I didn't even know they really. I'm not even sure I knew they had that thing in Turkey, but they have like so many ancient historic stuff in Turkey. I think if I was to do something, if I was to do research on all of them, it would be vast and and exhausting. But the stuff that we've already channeled and discussed, I thought it would be interesting to do something more deeper on. I will, when I get back home, I'm going to do some editing with the videos I've done and the channeling I've done. So when it's ready, I'll present it to you. And in the meantime, we're going to do our usual Q&A with Bahar. I also want to say that for this week, we usually have an offer every week. This time, I just want to remind you of the live channeling that we have on the 24th, which is next week. So this is an opportunity for you to show up live. I'm going to be available live. You're going to be on the chat, asking me questions, and I'll be channeling them live. It's the last opportunity to join this for $29. The price will go up. It will be about, it will be at least $99 next time because of we want to keep it, we don't want too big of a group because that way, the fewer people we are in the group, the more questions you can have answered, the more quality you get out of it for yourself, the more personal it gets for you, the more intimate it is. So this will be the last chance to join it for $29. So I just want to let you know, so at least you know if you are interested in this, this is the last chance for that price. Of course, I'll still be doing them, but it will be a little bit more pricey. It will still be a good deal because a personal reading is still a lot more pricey. So I wanted to let you know about that. And also, of course, you can always get in touch about a personal reading if you choose to. The links and everything should be in the description box. It's not that I'm sweating, it's just very humid here. It's just really, really humid here where I am. I'm in my cousin's house in Izmir in Turkey, wonderful city. But let's get to it. Bahar, do you want to join us?
Hello.
Hey.
Yes, you are actually in the city where I'm from in Turkey.
Exactly. And I have a lot of relatives here too. And one of my cousins said, "You look so familiar."
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
maybe
yeah,
we're related. Who knows?
she has Capricorn. Yeah, you never know. You
You
never
never
know.
know, exactly.
She has a Capricorn moon and she's a Scorpio sun. So she
Oh.
has, yeah, same moon as you.
Mm.
And yeah, so you have similar placements. Maybe that's why. And you know what? Those two signs, Scorpio and Capricorn, are my two seventh house because I'm Cancer ascendant and Taurus sun. So those are my
Oh.
two partner signs. So I always, they complement me the best.
Yeah,
So
that's why we work well together.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I always find myself in partnerships or like hanging out with people of those placements. It's what works best for me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And you're a
yeah.
Cancer sun, right?
No, I'm a Cancer ascendant
Uh,
and moon.
Ascendant, exactly. Because I
Yeah,
noticed that all my friends have some kind of Cancer, either sun,
yeah,
ascendant. Yeah, because it's
yeah. Because that
trining
would
my.
be, yeah, that would be, and also that would be opposite your moon sign. So that would be something
Ah,
appropriate for your emotional contentment,
true.
emotional needs. Yeah,
So interesting.
yeah,
Wow. Learning
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you have some great questions.
Yes, we
Um,
picked out three questions from some very good person who commented so many
yeah,
questions. Thank you for
I wish I
that.
could remember what their YouTube handle was because really we got some, I'm sure we can use those even for next time. There were some really
Yeah.
great questions. There were some real classics. I think this will be
Mhm.
very, very, very useful. Okay, I
Yeah.
can't
All
wait.
right.
Let's
Let's
get
get
started.
started. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Whenever you're ready, dear.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question is, what is the purpose of war and natural disasters?
One of the purposes of war is to fundamentally change the foundation or structure of a society. When its end has come, when transformation needs to take place, war could be one of the ways where there is a complete end of things as they used to be. As to the purpose of that, for each person who is affected by it, the purpose will be different. First of all, it's a collective agreement from before birth, but also individually, for each person who is affected, it will be like a redirection into something else, into something different, into something new. So you will usually find that these un, un, unpreventable things happen in societies where there has been a great deal of stability in the culture, where the culture has been um, very unchanged for a long time, or seemed to be very stable, even if the political life may be unstable or the circumstances might be unstable, the culture in itself would be stable. And so this would be like a forceful change of circumstance for the people involved. Uh, and where they are redirected would be very individual. So for some people, it might lead them to something much better that they would have never taken initiative on. For other people, it might be the ending of a very good life and the start of a very difficult set of circumstances. Although, of course, that would have its purpose and that would have been a something that they would have decided from before birth. But it has a very specific purpose for each person. Major things such as wars also have a societal purpose in terms of the greater environment or the greater world. So it could have a, when there's a lot of migration as a result of wars, that is usually because of other countries needing to experience an influx of new ideas, a change of perspective. Having an influx of immigrants or refugees will force a society to reconsider their position on a lot of things, because they are now faced with people who have a very different set of ideas, very different norms. And so this would have a global purpose in a sense. I am being shown Syria and how the Syrian people have fled to various countries across the world. And in a way, people have been forced to face the realities of war, even if they are personally unaffected by them. They are being faced with the reality of war. They are being faced with the fact that something in a country far, far away can be personally relevant for them. A lot of people are, in one way or another, personally affected, even if just slightly, by a war somewhere far away. They are not able to ignore the reality of war as if it's irrelevant to them, because they are being faced with the people that come from that war. And so it becomes a part of their own reality too. And so in a way, it brings people closer. It reminds people that you are never that far away from any situation in life, and that there is really no major difference between you and you with your privileges and those that live very difficult lives in war zones. As to natural disasters, there is often a more spiritual purpose in those cases. Wars make us confront because wars are man-made, it is due to us as a humanity and our lack of love and understanding, our lack of tolerance, our ignorance. So wars make us aware of our own shortcomings as a society, whereas natural disasters move us in a more spiritual direction and make us aware of our limitations as humans and make us humble about what we can and cannot achieve in life and what our focus should and should not be on. With natural disasters, we learn to submit to circumstances and accept our limited power to affect our lives and our I don't know how to explain this, but the fact that nature is more powerful than us, and that we are subject to the powers of nature. So natural disasters tend to have a more spiritual purpose, and it also inspires compassion in people in a way that wars usually do not. Natural disasters inspire us to be more compassionate.
Interesting. And do all people who get hurt or killed in wars or natural disasters attract this reality to themselves, or is this pure fate?
There is an agreement before birth. So in a way, they have agreed upon it. It would be a little misleading to say they have attracted it. They have decided upon it, and they have agreed to be in an environment where this would be inescapable, although for each individual, if it is necessary and if it's in their best interest, they would have the option to opt out beforehand, because their soul knows what their plan is, and so they could opt out if they chose to. However, these are usually people that want to do a lot of growing and learning in their lifetime, and they choose very difficult circumstances. And so they are quite brave souls. But if they choose to, they can opt out, although, of course, a collective agreement cannot be changed by one person, but they can choose not to join this event.
Wow, okay. And it's hard to understand from a human perspective how we would choose something like this, to experience something like this. What about those souls who survive such catastrophic events and they have to live with the pain of losing their relatives or losing parts of their body? Is this how they intended it to be?
What you are missing is that, yes, the event would be painful and it would be difficult, but it would also bring with it some benefits. As we have shown you previously, with each difficulty, with each painful event, there is always, always, always also positive things that came as a result of it, or because of it, or with this pain. And because it is a very human thing to first avoid pain, then appreciate the good. And so you tend to be so preoccupied with focusing on the pain that you do not see the good that comes. Because the good is so abundant, you take it for granted. And so, yes, it is a very extraordinarily difficult path that these people have chosen that lived through natural disasters and war. But there is also good that comes out of it. And they each have a purpose. They each have a personal, well, usually many personal blessings that come from it. But if you do not look for them, you will not find them. But when you look for the pain, of course, you will find that. It might sound counterintuitive, but many times when people go through hardship, they get some very profound, very meaningful blessings out of it. They just do not tend to talk about those things because they can be very personal. And that's not what people ask about. But for example, when somebody falls ill, it may take them away from a very undesirable living situation. It may disable them from continuing in a cycle that is negative. And so when we visit them, we tend to think, oh, poor you, suffering like this. But what we do not see is that they are suffering less because of this. Their suffering previously was invisible, and now it's visible. And so when you focus on the suffering, you are missing out on the many blessings that are there as well.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much. The second question is, how do curses work and how can we break them and protect ourselves from someone who wishes us badly?
Nothing is coming up. Can you give
Yeah, maybe just the first
something?
part. Yeah.
Maybe it's complicated. I'm not sure, but I'm not getting, when it's
Maybe.
formulated that way, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, so maybe let's ask, how do curses work and are they passed on in an
Should we try with
ancestry?
like, should we start with like, do they work?
Okay, yeah, maybe.
We'll
Okay.
start with that. Yeah.
So, do curses actually work? Are they a thing?
I'm getting a no.
Oh, wow.
I'm surprised by that too, because I've just heard some very like, um, I'm surprised by it too, but I'm getting a no. So
So,
let's dig. Give me
yeah,
questions. Yeah.
yeah. So, can we not affect someone else's energy through our intention by wishing them badly?
You can affect how you perceive them. You can, your focus and your beliefs determine what you are able to see in your environment. There are things that are right in front of your eyes, but that are invisible to you because it is something that is not within your perception. It's not within your, it's not within you. And so you cannot see it outside of you. And so people can perceive it that way. People perceive it as if curses do work because they are expecting it to some extent. There is something within them that makes that possible for them to see that. And so they see it and they are creating it. So one example is this person puts a curse on this person. And there are people around that are hearing this or seeing this or are aware of this curse. This person who is receiving of the curse may, by their own focus, be completely unaffected by the curse, but the people around may believe it. Their perception may allow them to see the curse happening. And so the people around can perceive that the curse had an effect, had some power, whereas the person affected, supposedly affected by it, is unaffected by it. This is possible. And so those people around can perceive the curse having power, can perceive it as if it had power, whereas the person who is cursed could still be unaffected. And so, no, in a real sense, there is no such thing. Not in a real sense, but yes, you can absolutely perceive it as if it is definitely a real thing. People are definitely having that experience. That is possible. You can have the experience of it. But in terms of somebody actually causing something by their intentions, no. There is also the fact that other people can only affect you to the extent that you believe they can and you allow them to. So if you believe yourself to be powerless, you are creating that, and so you are creating that. You're still not powerless, but you are creating that through your belief, and so your will be done, and so your experience will be that you are powerless to other people's intentions, although that is not the actual case.
So what I'm getting from this is that curses only work, quote unquote, if we allow them to, because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy and we created it for ourselves, right?
They do not actually work, but you can have the experience of it working, yes. You can have
Okay.
the simulation of it working, yes, but they are never actually somebody affecting somebody else's life. That is the cause is always somebody's belief in their powerlessness. That is the cause. If you believe you are powerless, you're creating that. But it's always, even with that, it is your power that is creating that. It is not somebody else enforcing something on you. It is your insistence that you are powerless that creates that. It is still your power. But yes, you can have the experience if that's what you are creating.
Wow, that was very enlightening. Thank you. Okay, the last question is, Spirit, what do you think about our justice system, and how could we change our justice system so that there's more spiritual growth for criminals?
It is just how we intended, unjust, primitive, just as it is intended. Justice does not happen on that level. You would like to believe in justice, and so you have created this very skewed justice system, which hardly anywhere in the world is really just, is really reliable, is really honorable. There is a great deal of corruption in your justice system in most of the world. There is a great deal of injustice depending on who you are and your background and your financial status and your social status. You might get different levels of quote unquote justice. It is an illusion that you have justice on that level. So do not be disappointed when you are not given a fair treatment, when things are not fair. Do not expect that of your justice system. It is how it was intended, unjust, unfair, skewed. Sometimes justice does occur, but it's certainly not the standard. It's certainly not usually the case in most countries. Of course, from country to country and from court to court, these change, and some of them have more justice in their courts and some of them less, but generally around the world in the courts there is more injustice than justice. This is not by accident. This is how it is intended to be. You must know that you cannot rely on your own minds and your own people and your own culture, your own societies to create, cause justice. As you can see, you are quite incapable of it. You are not mature enough. It would be good to just trust in the perfection of the all, the perfection of your reality too. bring you the experiences that are necessary. And the need for justice is also in itself an illusion. In the greater sense, in the spiritual sense, there is no injustice. No injustice has taken place. You are experiencing exactly what you need to experience for your own benefit. And you will, as souls, you experience the good and the bad. It's never anyone else doing it to you. It is you experiencing different aspects of life, different experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, the easy and the hard. It is not someone doing something to you. It's you choosing various experiences. It's you having the simulation, in a way, of injustice. And so there is no real need for justice, because injustice in itself an illusion. You are all quite equal. Nobody has access to more than another in the greater sense. Of course, from your point of view, you can't see that. You are very cut off from most of yourselves, from most of the rest of reality, and so you are experiencing it as injustice, or people having different circumstances, or different circumstances. But in the greater reality, you are all equal in every way. I just want to jump in here and say, I feel like this is a very vast thing. I don't know if the meaning of it is coming through, but it's like I feel like there's a lot more here. I don't know if I was able to convey it the way it's and it kind of took a different direction.
Yeah. But what I was getting from it is that no, our justice system is not just, but still whatever outcome we get from our skewed justice system is still what our soul intends to experience. And no matter how ugly or bad it may appear to us, it's still for our soul's growth.
Yeah, it's according to plan. I was wondering, though, on a personal level, I was wondering, is there a better way we can do it? I was curious. Let me check that. Is there a better way we can do it? You could, by recognizing that you all have different circumstances, and so you cannot compare each other to each other because you have such different circumstances. And so in order for it to be truly fair, the criteria have to be adapted to each person's circumstances. I don't get that myself. I don't understand. Let me just check. Oh, so for example, if somebody is guilty of theft, they would have to be tried in according to what their circumstances were. Were they hungry? Were they unable to support themselves and their children? If they stole bread to feed their children, then perhaps that would not be that should not be considered a crime. Whereas if someone steals the same amount of bread from a poor family, that should be considered a crime. And so to be truly fair, you would have to take into account the circumstances. However, as a society, you are not mature enough, aware enough, and loving and compassionate enough to do that, to achieve that. You have a lot of anger and hate towards each other. And so you are not yet capable of doing that. If you were, you would not need a justice system anymore.
Wow. Okay. I feel like there's much more here, but
Mm.
we're out of time. So,
oh wow. Wow, that was deep.
yeah, let's
Got
dig
where I was for a
into
bit.
that
Yeah.
more another session, because I feel like the whole justice and what you touched upon, that like in the end that we wouldn't even need a justice system if we were truly compassionate and spiritually evolved. I think that's very interesting. I think
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
our justice system is like something very human, like human
Yeah.
perspective, the
I was
idea that
really
we
surprised
get
by the,
punished.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. That we punish someone, that we want to see them suffer.
Mm.
Oh, we didn't even get into that. Oh, we should.
Yeah, and we could channel about prisoners too, because I think like many times prisoners, they're not even allowed the chance to evolve, and so
Yeah.
the whole idea of putting them into prison is kind of
Mhm.
pointless, because it just keeps repeating the cycle over and over.
Yeah. Oh, there's
That's
much more. There's so
much
much to this
more. Yeah,
topic. Yeah.
much
Yeah.
more.
I was really shocked by the fact that as a standard, it's unjust. The justice system is
Mm,
as a standard, because I mean, I can get frustrated about those things. I do want to believe in justice and stuff, and I can get upset when I hear
yeah,
about some case where it's unfair or whatever. But I was really shocked to see like that's the standard. Like it's usually unfair. It's usually unfair. That
yeah.
was yeah. Oh wow. I think we had a lot of very good ones. I also like the clarity I received on the curse one, because we were just talking about curses yesterday
Mhm.
with my cousins. They were like, it was actually my family. You're talking about my family, about like the person I got my name from, my father's grandma. She put a curse on well, another family, right? She put a curse on them, and they're like, everybody died in that family. Her words were so, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm like, shocked by this, right?
Yeah.
And so it was like really close to me. And when they say those things and like everybody believes it, then you're like, oh wow. So I did enter this conversation like truly believing that there's something to that.
Yeah,
Mm,
me too. I think, but what it proved, I think, is that yes, words are powerful, but what's
yeah,
even more powerful is our beliefs and our,
yeah,
what we believe in for ourselves. And
yeah.
so as long as you don't buy into anything that someone else wants to impose upon you, then you can protect
Hmm.
yourself from any, harm or bad
Yeah,
intentions. So
that's a
that
great
was
comfort,
nice. Nice to hear.
but
Yeah.
yeah, that's a great comfort, but then also like in practice, it's hard, right? Like
Yeah.
I always
Anything
forget.
spirit talks about, I feel like you have to be so zen and
Yes,
so like
yeah,
centered
yeah,
to, because I always see spirit's point, but then I'm like,
yeah,
but I'm human and it's hard. It's
yeah.
always
It's
like
like
it's so cute. It's like spirit is like our loving,
yeah, yeah.
grandpa, and
Parents.
saying, fine, you're fine. And we're like, but no,
I
we're
also love how it's
suffering.
like and it's like in the moment when you hear these things, I'm like, yes, of course, this makes sense. Like now I get it. And then
Yeah.
you're back out in the world, and it's like, why
And
am I
you're like,
repeating
oh,
the same thing? I
so
love that.
true.
Yeah, it's so
So
funny.
true.
But at least it's like at least it's a comfort in the moment, and at least we have some alternative way of
Yeah.
looking at things.
And it's beautiful, because spirit never gets impatient with us. Like,
Yeah,
always has
yeah,
wise words to say, no matter how many
yeah,
times they repeat themselves.
yeah, yeah.
It's really lovely,
Yeah.
actually.
I also wanna, I've been getting some messages from people who say that these channelings have really been helping them and like really been a comfort to them. And I just want to
Yeah.
say also to them that I really appreciate those messages. It's so, that's the purpose for all
Yeah.
of this. And I feel the same way myself. It gives me a lot of comfort as well. So
Me
I think,
too. When I listen back to them, I just, yeah, I'm grateful. Even though we can hear it over and over again and then we
yeah,
still fall back into our old patterns, it's fine
yeah,
and it's good because, we always keep learning, keep growing. It's never like
yeah,
a
yeah,
straight line. It's more like,
yeah,
spiraling back to things that you heard before and
yeah.
understanding them more deeply.
I agree. I like how it's like it's not this, oh, unless you do it this way, you're not enlightened. You're
Mm,
not only an
yeah.
enlightened person eats one meal a day and they do this and they never get angry. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
like because it's not like some people are like super enlightened, the rest of us are just idiots. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
having to be
totally.
normal, like with our flaws and.
It's so humbling. It's such a humbling
Mhm,
experience to listen to spirit's advice because
mm.
I always strongly feel that, no matter how bad we are,
Yeah,
no, in our, perspective, we are always all like loved and we're always all
yeah,
like the same. We are worthy, all worthy of love, and we
yeah,
are all valued the same by spirit, no matter what we do. Or
yeah.
so that's so humbling. It's so nice.
It's also, I think, over time, it really has like changed my perspective on things. I do see like a result over time that, sometimes I can, at times, like something that I prefer not to, like something makes me uncomfortable. And I think to myself, I would just prefer for this not to be the case. And it just changes. Like it literally just
Yeah.
changes. And I'm like, oh, it does work. Like I really do affect my reality. And it's like, I think those things are
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
Totally.
I think it does have an effect, even though it needs a lot of repetition for me anyway.
Yeah, but I think it's a good practice to
Yeah.
also, for everyone watching this, try it at home,
Yeah.
try channeling yourself. Get Emine's channeling course. I can
Oh yeah, it's
recommend
actually on a
it.
discount
Really.
right now. Yeah, it's on a discount until the next video. I do want to say though, because I've met some people that are also like into this, and they have this one guru that they really look up to or whatever. Now this is just my personal view, but I do think it's really important to not take any one person as
Mm,
flawless.
yeah.
I do this my way. It might be helpful to you, but I am no different or better, or, you
Mm,
know, you can have your own connection that to you
yeah.
is better. And like no guru, like you can learn from people. Like I have my teachers. I really look up to some people. I've learned a lot from some, but nobody is flawless
And
and
nobody has
nobody's
the whole
better than you.
truth. It's always
Yes,
just an aspect of the truth. So,
yes,
some people write in the comments
yes,
like, "Oh, you're getting this totally wrong," but then you're like, "Well,
yeah,
I'm just channeling my perspective, what is coming through
yes,
for me. So it's just a small aspect of
yes,
the
yes,
whole. I think we could never get grasp the whole truth with our human
yeah,
brain. So,
yes. And also,
yeah.
like each person should have their own connection.
Mm,
Even if they don't want to channel, they can
yeah,
have their own inner voice,
I
but they
mean, we
don't.
got
You
channel
never need.
already, like consciously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you never need or you never depend on any other person. So I don't believe, like, I'm really against this thing about like a guru or someone being like, yes, you can admire people, they can be your teachers, but do
Mm,
not consider them infallible. I find that very scary when I see people are
mm,
like, oh, but let me ask if my teacher would
mm.
approve of what. No, you need to use your own mind. Like you need
Yeah.
to find out for yourself.
I think honestly, this is the single most thing that your channeling course has taught me is to
Mm.
trust my own inner voice. And that's why I
Yeah,
recommend it to anyone, because you're not really teaching some magic trick. You're just
yeah,
teaching how to trust your inner voice. And I think
yeah,
everybody, no matter if you want to be a
yeah,
psychic, if you want to be a
yeah,
channeler or not, everyone can like benefit from that, because
yeah.
you are just strengthening your connection to the divine. So,
Also, I also want to say that, like, being that we're all human, right? And those that are in like the spiritual field, such as I am, I do see some people that are in this field that, being human, they like attention, or, you need to have some of that. I'm
mm,
comfortable with some attention. I like some of it. You have to. Otherwise, you would not be in front of people. So
yeah.
some people get very big. They're very famous gurus, but you must know they're not big necessarily because they're that good. Okay. Some of them are very, very big because they had a grandiose idea of themselves, and
Mm,
their message may to some extent be really, really valuable. But these are people. These are human beings, flawed, fallible, like you and me. There are some narcissists out there with
mm,
fantastic spiritual advice, fantastic spiritual guidance, but every now and then they slip in some toxicity. And so that's
mm,
why you get this. I don't know if you've watched this documentary on Osho. Osho.
mm-mm.
Well,
No.
so he was like a huge, I don't know if he's still alive. I think he's still alive. Has this major following, like millions and millions of people. He's been in America and India, like major following. And turns out he's a narcissist and like psychopath, whatever.
Oh my
These
God.
things are pretty common,
Mm.
because first of all, in order to get that big, you have to want it. You
Oh
have to want
yeah.
that. All right, because it's an effort. Like even me doing this work, like it's actually work. I didn't just sit on
Mm.
my own and people are like, oh, we're really curious as to what your ideas are, right? I
Yeah,
decided,
yeah. You have
I
to get
decided
your
I want to.
name out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I decided this is important to me. If you want to listen to it, I had to put myself out there. And so in order to do
Mm.
it in that scale, if you want to reach billions of people, for whatever reason, you must want that. And so
Yeah.
some psychopath narcissists want that. And so I do want to just give that warning that just because I've heard some things from relatives here, they're like, oh, Sadhguru, I don't want to mention names. They mentioned somebody. They were like, this person is so enlightened. They're not even eating food anymore. They live
Oh.
in the air. They blah blah blah. And I'm like, when I hear
Mm.
that, because I do this work myself, right? Because I
Mm.
myself do this work, I'm like, I'm pretty aware we're human, right? Yes, I'm
Mm.
very spiritually inclined, but I'm 100% human. And so um, some of them I can see their bullshit, and
Mm.
I just want to. Sorry, I just felt like this needed to be said because I do see a lot of people being
Yeah.
tricked. Take
Yeah,
the
no, I'm
teaching.
sure there was a reason for this to come through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take the teaching, but nobody's above you. Nobody's
Mm.
above you, right? Like, I'm just a channel. I'm not flawed. I'm human. I have my personality. I have my good and bad sides, whatever.
Mm.
And even when I channel, I do it from my own point of view. I'm limited in that way. I can make
Mm.
mistakes. And so there's no difference between me and. I also say that because I tend to sort of idolize people. I idolize
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle and like a lot of people, you know.
Mm. It's good
Sorry,
to
this.
humble ourselves every now and then, and
Hmm.
remember that we're all just awkward like beings in these weird bodies,
But also
all
that,
just
like,
trying to
but
learn
so
life.
yeah, but so are our idols. You're no different. Like I
Yeah.
idolized Eckhart Tolle. I was like, this man is Jesus reincarnated. I was like, he is flawless because his teaching helped me, right? His teaching helped me. And that's possible, but it does not mean he might be very difficult to live with. I don't know. You know what I mean? He's
He
human.
might have his own
Yeah.
flaws and
Yeah.
probably does. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that sense, but he fills a function in society. He has a purpose in society. That's fine, but like nobody's flawless. So my purpose is to say that like do not put anybody above yourself. Like really nobody is above yourself. I'm just saying that because I've seen a lot of people get very misled. Oh, now your screen froze. Oh dear. Okay, I better finish up because it might be cut off anytime soon. Live channeling on the 24th. I don't know what happened with Bahar. I hope she comes back, but live channeling on the 24th. It's the last chance to sign up for $29. Oh, there you are. You're back. Oh, you froze there for a bit. You froze there for maybe that was a sign. I've been talking too much. All right. Oh, and you froze.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are. Okay, comes and goes. Before it gets cut off, let's just say thank you to people.
Yes.
Next week, I'm back in Sweden as usual. You will see we're back to normal schedule.
Okay, nice.
Okay. Take care, Bahar. Take care,
You
everybody.
too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.